Okay, so it took me a while, years, to actually consider myself to be a super mom. It takes hard work, but I'm proud to say that I am a super mom. Gave birth to 2 girls that were premature. They are smart, healthy girls that are growing up to be just wonderful. Very proud of them. Part of the supermom thing is just going through the challenges that everyday life just brings you. And as I said before, you just have to go with the flow and deal with it. And as I always say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I'm here to prove to you that that is correct. I told you in the video before that I was going to talk about a home attack that I was faced with. It was definitely life-changing. It happened about a year and a half ago. It was March 2012. I lived in a small condo, not in the great part of town, but still not in the worst. I was there for a little over a year until this happened. My kids, thank goodness, were with their father, and I was home by myself. I was actually planning to move out in a couple weeks, and I had a friend coming over later that night to help me move a couple boxes around the house. I had a knee surgery a couple weeks before, so I couldn't move some heavy boxes. So I was getting ready to go to bed, and I heard the doorknob, front door, just kind of wiggling, so I got up thinking that it was my friend Frank coming over to help move some boxes. So at this point I got up and was walking in the hallway. I had to walk to the end of the hallway to turn the light on. As I was walking out in the middle of the hallway, I saw a male figure come into my house, which definitely was not the male figure of my friend, who happens to be over 6 feet tall. It was somebody a lot shorter and stockier. At that point, my heart just kind of, it fell to the floor, and the only thing that I can think of was, oh my gosh, I have to get to my security, which was my weapons that were in my room. So I began to run. I said nothing. I was in shock, and I ran into my room with my gimp knee and everything. And right as I got into the doorway of my room, that's when the guy who entered my home had pushed me down, and I landed onto my stomach, which, like I said, I had knee surgery 2 weeks before, so the pain that hit my knee, and I'm a fighter, I know how to defend myself, but I could not due to the knee injury, and I was just trying to crawl over to that gun, but it seemed like my attacker knew what I was going for. And at this point, there was no thoughts in my head of who it could be. It was just, oh my gosh, I could die. And it was very scary, because I didn't know if I was going to die, if I would ever see my kids again. And before I knew it, there was a cloth that went over my face. And so I tried to hold my breath. I said, oh my, I didn't want to breathe it in. And then all of a sudden, I couldn't move. My eyes were open. I was able to see, but I couldn't scream and I couldn't move. And before I knew it, my attacker had taken off my bottoms and began to sexually assault me. Again, I felt everything, I remember everything, but I could not move. And the only thing he said at the end was, "That's what I wanted, bitch." And then he left, and he left me there. And I laid there for what seemed like hours. It was probably more around 30 minutes before my friend Frank came over. Now, the door was locked when he came. He had to use the key that I gave him to come in. And he found me on the floor. I couldn't speak, and I couldn't move. He ended up calling 911. They brought me to the hospital. On the way there, I was able to slowly start moving a little and speaking. And then the thoughts went through my head, well, who could it be? Was it somebody I knew? Was it somebody I didn't know? And I started thinking, short, stocky man. And that's when my ex-boyfriend came into my head. It was a guy that after I got divorced, I gave my whole heart to. I loved him with every single bit of me. And we left on bad terms. We got into a little argument and stopped talking a few months before the attack. But he was very bitter about it, and I know he has aggression. And he knew where I lived. And so detectives came, they talked to me, and I told them, I believe it's this guy. I didn't know for sure, it was dark out, but his body was the same as the ex that I had dated. Long story short, it's now, like I said, this happened March 2012. It is now August 2013, and they still haven't arrested anybody. They fingerprinted my house. I never went back there again. I couldn't. So I survived, and that's wonderful. But it took them over a year to actually question this guy that I told them from pretty much week one, this could be the guy. And it took them over a year to question him, and that really hurt. It seemed like the city police here didn't really care about my story. I went to counseling for a little while. They put me on I think Zoloft and some other medication for PTSD. I would have bad nightmares. I wasn't really letting anybody into my life as far as a boyfriend figure after, until I met Patrick, which I did meet July 4th of 2012, and like I said, Patrick is the father of my unborn child. So we met, and it was very hard to let somebody else in my life. But that's what happened with my attack in March, and I'm not ashamed to talk about it. It is very hard to talk about. I have run into this guy numerous times at a gym that I went to, and it was hard. It was very, very hard because the cops did nothing about it. He was following me. I even got a new car, changed my hair. I had really long hair. I cut it. All of this because of this guy who attacked me. But again, I did what I could. Unfortunately, I wish the cops would have done what they could have. They did not. But I survived, and I can tell my story and hopefully save somebody from being in that situation. And any women that have been in that situation, again, please just overcome it. You know, it might take you months, it might take you years, but don't let him win. Don't be hiding. Don't be uncomfortable to go out, because that's what he wants. He wants you to live life in this hellhole, and don't let him win. Show him that you can get through it. Be strong for yourself, be strong for your kids if you have them, your husband, your family. Be strong and learn from it. I take what I could from the situation and learn, and now I have more protection. I'm smarter with the places that I live at, and I'm definitely smarter with the guys that I talk to or the guys that I tell where I live. And that's what it comes down to.